All right, Poppa's House fans, I gotta say this is a great episode. Junior got on my nerves though. He got on my nerves. This, what's the word? Do people still say irk? IRK. This irked me. Nah, I don't think so because I haven't heard it or seen it in quite a while. But I'll use it for this episode. Junior irked me. This comes from a person who has been an eBay seller for, well, consistently almost 8 years. But I sold stuff on eBay as far back as like 2011. But um, he was way out of pocket. And shout out to Vivica A. Fox. It was a nice surprise to see her. I mean, 2 episodes in a row where we've had, black stardom. Last week, of course, was Damon's brother Marlon in an episode. And in this episode, you have Vivica as the judge. Say what? But yeah, I'm giving this one a solid 9 out of 10. The B plot about Dr. Reed and Nina, I didn't really care about it too much. I mean, they were just kind of there. But the A plot is really what I want to focus on. So let me just talk about the Dr. Reed stuff. Long story short, this is what her 9th or 10th book that she's, written. And she's asking Nina to read it. And Nina's like, first of all, I'm not really like a writing critic. Not to mention, I'm not. Plus, we know each other well, so I don't really feel like it would be easy for me to give you any sort of criticism. Well, yeah. You read all my books and everything, so I'll value your feedback. And of course, like any sensitive creative, when Nina finally finishes the book, she invites Dr. Reed over to tell her that I didn't like it because it just felt like you're retreading old material. And she snaps at Nina and leaves, but then comes back to reveal that when she took the book to her publisher, she said the exact same thing. And then she kind of breaks down saying like, with all the books and everything I've already put out, maybe, I don't know. It feels like I have nothing else to discuss. But Nina kind of reassures her that, eventually you'll figure out something. It's like you haven't tapped the bottom of the well just yet. I mean, there's still a little bit more digging to do, and I'm sure once you do, boom, water's going to overflow and your ideas will be right back to the surface, and you'll be able to write a new book. My theory, at some point, because I think Essence actually said in an interview a few weeks ago, she's glad that they aren't trying to rush a Poppa and Dr. Reed love story. I mean, it's kind of slowly building, which is good. It's better than just rushing these two to get together. But I think when these two start to, actually find and realize their feelings for each other, she'll probably come out with a new book, either about rediscovering romance or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much what the B plot was. So the A plot. Junior returns from the flea market and he's bought a bunch of stuff. And this is how you do it. People ask me all the time, Jeremy, how do you find things to sell on eBay? Now, you can do this strategy because it does work. I don't really go to flea markets like that or Goodwill like I used to. I pretty much focus mainly on trading cards and whatnot. And thankfully, I started buying Pokemon cards again. I want to say around the late 2010s. I don't know why. I just started getting back into the habit because obviously I stopped, I think middle school, high school. Yeah, there was a large gap. But then when I started working, I'm like, I go to GameStop all the time buying collectibles. Like, it wouldn't hurt to buy a couple packs of cards. And next thing you know, card market exploded. And that's how I make a lot of money. But going to the flea market to find collectibles and stuff is great too. For me, I'm more of the guy that goes to stores like Walmart or Target or Ross or Five Below. Mainly when I was in Lynchburg. But since I'm back in my hometown, there's not much here. So I do most of that clearance shopping online. So essentially, let's say I find like a Pokemon collectible figures or something marked down to like $20, and it usually goes for like 79. I buy it. Then I usually wait till the sale is over online because a lot of people look, despite people wanting to find things at good prices, the thing about selling stuff is for the people who don't want to go out of their way. It's like, man, I went to this store, but I didn't see something on sale. Not knowing that if I just went to like another website, I could probably find it for a lot cheaper. They'll go to eBay and buy it for usually higher than what it really costs. So it's all about flipping. That's what it's all about. So Junior has like a box full of stuff. And it turns out he's trying to save up some money to make a movie. And when he's showing Poppa his findings, he's Oh my goodness, he sees a vinyl, which is funny because I love vinyls. I just dang near filled up my shelf of vinyls that I put together last week. I bought a shelf from Amazon and put it together. It's like a 2-story shelf that you could fit books or vinyls on. For me, it's vinyls. The bottom row is completely full. Top row can fit maybe about a few more, and that's it. But it's Billie Holiday. I had to look it up. The name sounded familiar, but it's a female jazz singer from back in the day. And Poppa wants it like, so how much you selling it for? So then Junior gets this like, I reminds me of like the Doug Dimmadome or Smokey the Bear. Nah, not Smokey the Bear. He puts on some hat and he's trying to like, be an auctioneer. And at first Poppa's like $10, $20, $40. And then they keep going back for, fine, I'll give you $100. Okay, there you go, $100. And then he gloats to his father about, taking him for a sucker and making a huge profit. Now I got $100 to put towards my movie. So then at dinner, Junior keeps on going. Ha ha ha, yeah, I pulled one over on him. Yep. And then Dr. B's like, Nino, we know. But it turns out Junior didn't do his due diligence. I mean, to be honest, if I were Poppa, I would have looked at the vinyl too. It was like, yeah, you bought this at a flea market, and it's already open. So let me take this vinyl out, make sure it's still intact before I decide to buy it. That's something I would have done. But it turns out that he had the vinyl either appraised or somebody to check he had some guy check the authenticity, because after he opened the vinyl, he saw there was a signature inside the paperwork that comes in the vinyl, like the sheet that comes with, like, the track listing and things like that. And it turned out there was a genuine signature by Billy in there. So the vinyl itself is worth $20,000, and everybody's cheering, especially Junior, like, yeah, we're rich. And then Pop's like, no, I'm rich. Like, wait, what? You're not going to split the funds with me? No, because I bought it. And I mean, this is how it is. Look, I know I lose people when I mention like anime and stuff like that, but if you are a parent, even if you don't know much about Pokemon at all, you probably know about during the pandemic when Pokemon Go blew up and was a big thing. And even now, even if you aren't into Pokemon yourself, maybe you have children or nephews, nieces, little cousins, whoever, people in your circle who like Pokemon. Pokemon cards are darn near impossible to find now because the market has just exploded. That's why I'm glad I have crates of them in my office that I sell, because it's a great way to just make incredible amounts of money from just little pieces of cardboard. There have been times where I will sell a card on eBay and it goes, okay, this card sold for like $3. All right, because I got 20 of the same card. I'll sell them all at once for like, $60, give or take, whatever. But there are plenty of examples where I have sold a card and it only went for like maybe somewhere between $2, maybe even $20, depending on, the market or how good the card is in the collectible card game, which I've never played, ironically enough. I remember the card market exploded, I want to say in February or March again of this year, because I sold some cards in January, but then like 2 weeks later, the market just exploded. So cards I sold for maybe $15, $20 went up to like a couple hundred. As a seller, I cannot then, okay, hey Timothy, you bought a Mewtwo card from me on January 10th for $25. Turns out 2 weeks later, that card blew up to over 700. And I saw that you sold the card on eBay. So I want you to split the profits with me. That is not how it works. Once you sell somebody something, and this isn't just eBay, this is in real world too. Once you sell somebody something and then they decide to flip it or whatever, if they choose to do so, you are not entitled to any of that money. So Junior, he need to get his head out of his ass, because I was just sitting here the whole time like, bro, you have no leg to stand on. You not only sold your father that vinyl, but you gloated in his face because he only paid, $10, $20 for that vinyl, and here you find out that the vinyl is worth over $20,000. And then Pops rightfully said, well, son, that's your fault for not checking the vinyl before you sold it to me. I bought it from you, none the wiser, but then I opened it up and noticed the signature. So I have nothing to discuss. So what does he do? Takes him to judge say what? And I love this scene. The say what segment was pretty funny. It reminds me of the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. The episode where Felix and Oscar are going back and forth about whether or not Puff is the daddy. No pun intended to P. Diddy. Puff is the dad of the puppies that their dog has. And they go to like this one Judge Bird. It reminded me of that. But yeah, Vivica is obviously, or I'm sorry, the judge is infatuated with Poppa. And Junior, he just gets shut up immediately because his case holds. Even though the judge is obviously flirting with Poppa, Junior's case has no legs to stand on. Literally, it has no legs to stand on. So he ends up losing. And there's no way to go about it. There's no way, like, you can't recoup any sort of loss. So by the end of the episode, he comes by the house and says, the vinyl's up to $23,000, right? And from there, he plays a record to say, well, I'm not selling it, son. It's going in my special collection. And you know who that collection is going to after I die? Me? No, he mentioned somebody else. I forgot. But in any case, he gives him a history lesson on Billie Holiday and the impact her music has and this, that, and the third. I ain't gonna lie, Poppa. I would have sold that vinyl, or at least hold on to it so that value goes up. See, I got like almost 150 vinyls. I think the case holds between 160 to 200. So yeah, I got well over 100 vinyls. Most of them are sealed. Like I bought them brand new from Amazon or Target or Walmart, wherever I found a sale, because I'm a sucker for physical media. But ever since I moved into my house and I have, great internet, smart TVs everywhere, I haven't played a DVD or a Blu-ray in almost a year because everything's on streaming, but I still have a huge collection of DVDs, CDs, Blu-rays, things like that. I even have 3 boxes of VHSs. No, I don't play VHSs anymore. I don't even have a VHS player, but I still have them. I will sell them at some point. But I just love picking up a record and just looking at the cover. I know it's kind of a weird thing, but that's just me. Well, then again, it does seem weird. No, because vinyls, I think for the past few years, vinyls have been outselling CDs and whatnot for quite some time. Yeah, vinyls had a resurgence a few years ago, hence why new artists or artists who put out new records put out vinyls still. I mean, look at Taylor Swift, for example. She puts out like 50 of the same vinyl and her fans go buy them all. So, vinyls have gone up. But I just love looking at the cover art, looking at the back of it. Then, of course, I do have the used vinyls that are, I found them in a thrift store, or a bunch of them I got on eBay. Like I have pretty much every new edition vinyl except for their Christmas album and Home Again, because they're kind of expensive. So all the albums I have for them are used. I got plastic sleeves that I put the vinyl and everything in so they stay safe. I'm not a fan of picture discs though. I'm just not. I think the 2 most expensive vinyls I have, I paid like $99 for Tracy Spencer's. It was the Tender Kisses vinyl. Yeah, it was the album that came. What was it called? Differences or something? I forgot. I got that one. And the most expensive vinyl I have, Belle Biv DeVoe Poison. It was $143 on eBay, brand new. I think it's like the red vinyl. It's a special, color or whatever. So yeah, those I'm not opening. Plus, it's like, look, I got Spotify, I got Amazon Music, I got like 3 different forms of streaming music. So why would I open the vinyls? But I get the appeal to have a record player and whatnot, which I don't have. But yeah, the way this episode ends, Poppa gives Junior a $10,000 check to invest in his film. While that is a sweet moment, Junior did not deserve that money. For one, you took your father. First you swindled your father out of $100 for something you paid a fraction of it for, which is not a bad thing. Hey, that's the way the game goes. Supply and demand. But you gloated. And then when it turns out that thing you sold him was worth way more, you felt entitled to half the money, which you didn't know. So Poppa giving that $10,000, was he a better man than me? Because first of all, you took me to court on some bogus case. Secondly, in episode 14, the last episode, Junior sold his anime collection, made $10,000. He was going to put that into the app that his uncle Melvin was going to create. He was going to be a partner with him, but then Melvin, thanks to Poppa's interference, didn't play his own nephew. So Junior had his 10 grand, and he was upset that he lost his anime collection. Poppa went out of his own pocket and bought the collection back on eBay. He's like, yeah, I bought him because the dummy selling it was selling it at like lowball prices. So essentially, Poppa paid far less than $10,000 to get his son's collection back. So Junior had $10,000 cash, plus he got his anime collection back because his dad bought it back for him. So Junior, where's that money? Why don't you use that to kickstart your film? So that $10,000 check, yeah, Junior, he was a brat. And that was like the reason I gave this episode like a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10, because Poppa gave him that $10,000 at the end, which he did not deserve. So with that being said, I did love the episode though. I thought it was fun. Biblical Fox was like a nice addition to it, so that was cool. But with that being said, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.